Manchester United 4, Real Sociedad 1, through to the next round of the Europa League, into the quarterfinals. A convincing performance, and by the end, a pretty controlled and dominant performance, I would say. I'm joined by Scotty and Finn. We've just had the watch on, we've just watched the game. I'll start with you, Finn. Just give me some of your thoughts on that performance tonight.
Just, especially towards the end, overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
So much good to take from that game. Obviously, you can talk about a bit of luck from them going down to 10 men, but you can only play what's in front of you, and I think we did brilliantly.
Yeah, me too. Scotty, we've got loads to go through, but just how did you feel generally about that performance tonight?
I felt like it was we're starting to reach a point what I was expecting, really, but I think people might focus on the 10 men, but the positions and the shapes of play that United were putting together were evident before they went down to 10 men, and I think that people need to focus on that rather than the number of players who are playing against. But we built on the Arsenal game, and we're through to the quarterfinals of the Europa League. Yeah. We're going to win it.
It's very exciting, isn't it? I mean,
more than that, Joe.
We might win it. Let's go back then. Let's kind of retrace our steps a little bit here. So first few minutes, we were all a little bit shocked by the fact that Sociedad looked a lot quicker, a lot more energised, and a lot more up for it than they did in the home leg for them last week. They looked good, they started well. They got a penalty, which I think, much like the other two penalties in the game, was probably a penalty, but not definitely. Oyasbach sort of stood across De Ligt, and because of that, he kind of kicked his ankle. But they got the goal, and then from that moment, United were the better team, I thought, for the whole game. Bruno Fernandes obviously getting a hat-trick, playing fantastically well. There's a few players I want to talk about. I want to start with Patrick Dorgu, because I thought, comfortably for me, his best performance for United tonight. I thought he was dangerous at both ends of the pitch. His tackling numbers were excellent. I think he won, what was the numbers here? Let me get this. He won he won one of his two tackles, but the duels in particular, where it's sort of 50-50 coming together, he won 11 duels more than anyone else on the pitch. And there's this sort of a athleticism, and not just that, because you can have that naturally, but his work rate and his determination and the fact that he puts the work in on top of that was phenomenal tonight. The only negative I would say is some of his shots were a little bit lacklustre, but he got in brilliant positions, and I thought was just fantastic tonight. What did you make of Dorgu, Finn?
Yeah, I'd say in the most positive way possible, he's a nuisance.
Yeah.
He really kind of causes issues for the opposition. He's a bully physically. You really rarely see him muscled off the ball. And I think United have been crying out for a little bit of that physical presence, especially in the Premier League. You know, we so often look the physically and athletically inferior team.
Yeah.
And he's one of those players that can hopefully start shifting that, because, yeah, he really gets about the pitch and puts a shift in. And then on top of that, he has got quality on the ball. Some of the final passes are a little bit off, like we've mentioned, but I think, you know, he'll grow on these performances. Certainly, like you said, probably his best performance in a United shirt so far. And yeah, I think he'll go on it.
Yeah, only Bruno Fernandes had more shots than Dorgu as well tonight.
Which is impressive for a wing back. I mean, I'd probably go one further than Finn, and I'd say that that's not only the best performance that Dorgu's had in a United shirt this season. I think it's probably the best performance anyone's had in a United shirt this season.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think he was man of the match, even over Bruno?
I thought Bruno had a good game, and, you know, he scored the goals and stuff like that. But I think in terms of what he did for the game, I thought
his impact.
The impact. I think Dorgu was more sort of pivotal to how United were playing. His energy, his intensity, and like Finn said there, you can be an athlete and a bully, but you still have to have a nous and be able to play football. And the patterns of play that he was playing, the link up with Xerxes, the link up with Højlund, and there was lots of running in behind players, and it's. For me, when I saw Dorgu signing, obviously it was Amarim's first signing, you want to see evidence from his first signing, given the pressure that Amarim was under, that this can be some sort of like blueprint that we can sort of build on. That performance just demonstrates everything to where we're sort of heading towards.
I think a lot of the early criticism about Amarim's system and the wing backs has been based on our performances while we've had Dalot and Mazraoui, who are good players in their own right, but they're not wing backs playing in those positions. And I think this is, like you've mentioned, the blueprint for what he actually wants from a wing back, which is almost basically a winger. You know, he played very high and very wide, and it does require the centre backs to step up, and a lot of things have to go right for it to work. But I think tonight has shown that it can be really, really effective with the right personnel.
Yeah. So United scored 2 penalties then back to back. Both of them, I thought, I wouldn't say neither of them were penalties, but both on the kind of softer side, but the ref had established that was the standard. So then you do that and you stick to it, and fair enough. United go 2-1 up, and then the red card happens. Any questions for you whether that's a red card, either of you? Did you think?
No, it is a red. Maybe he's not the absolute last man, but I think it's a goal scoring opportunity, and it's a clear red.
Yeah, I mean, and let's just, while we're talking about that moment, the weight of the pass from Xerxes was just absolutely incredible. I think that actually makes him sort of have to lunge in as well, because it was just, you couldn't have put it any better. It was like Tiger Woods with a golf ball. It was like on the spot.
It was brilliant. Just looking at some of the stats then, before we get into that kind of 10-men period where I thought United went up another notch, obviously, as you'd expect. United had 25 shots tonight, 10 on target, to Sociedad's 8 with 3 on target, 4 big chances as well. Obviously, a very high XG, partly because of the fact we got 2 penalties, but also because we created so many shots, so many chances, and limited them to just 3 shots on target as well. One of them, of course, being the penalty. So outside of that, they barely laid a glove on us. That spell, I thought, once they went down to 10 men, and again, some of this you can almost look at it as like a training exercise. They're down to 10 men, what can you do with it? But so many times this season we've been against poor teams, or teams that were themselves struggling, or they come into playing United and they've only won one of the last 5, and they'd look brilliant against us. And we'd struggle to make passes, and we'd struggle to link play together. We did that really well tonight, I thought. Funnily enough, I know there's a lot of players to get through. I want to talk about Ayden Heaven in a minute. I want to talk about Xerxes. But I did think Højlund had a good game tonight without scoring a goal. His sort of striker play, his number 9 play was better than it has been, I thought. I thought Bruno was fantastic, and we'll talk about him. I do want to talk about Ayden Heaven, though, like I said. Finn, obviously, you're someone who's been a fan of his. He came in, I know he's not been at the academy for a long time, but he's come in immediately into the first team sort of arena, like you said he would be when he signed. What did you make of his performance today?
Yeah, again, I think he's building on his previous few performances for United. He's ahead of schedule. The club didn't expect him to be having this much impact this early on. Yeah. I was told that he would be a first-team signing, but I think it's kind of surprised everyone at just how ready he looks, because I don't think you can say he looked particularly out of place at all. Obviously, there was that early, sketchy moment where he did get skinned on the wing, but from then on, I think he looked really, really comfortable, both defensively and on the ball. He played, a few nice balls over the top into the channel for Dorgu, and defensively he got around. He made a few really good tackles, a few good blocks, and in the air he looks really strong. He's towering above the opposition, and he can. I think he's got a good leap on him. So yeah, really, really happy with what I've seen, and I can't see any reason why he can't continue to play a somewhat important role throughout the rest of the season.
Especially if we keep, getting these injuries here and there. We can't, Martinez isn't going to come back.
It's unfortunate for the team, but for him, it's kind of perfect timing.
Yeah, I thought he played well. Bruno Fernandes got the hat-trick, obviously.
Yep.
He's had, it's almost become now this, like, Bruno versus Roy Keane thing, hasn't it? It's not just someone expressing their opinion. I feel like, when he was scoring these goals, a lot of the comments in our channel, and I see it on social media, are like, F off Roy Keane. It's like, all right, we can maybe have a bit of balance here, where Roy Keane wasn't happy with what he said, but now every time Bruno does anything, it's like he's proved Roy Keane wrong again. But he did prove anyone who doubted him wrong tonight, didn't he?
I don't think his performance needs to prove anybody wrong. Like it was he's always professional performance. I think with Bruno, because he gets accused for the hand gestures when he's not happy with decisions, but. He leads through his professionalism, I think, in a different way to Roy Keane. I just bore off with all the sort of Roy Keane versus Bruno Fernandes. I'm sure Roy can't be asked, and I'm pretty sure Bruno can't. It's just all the dickheads around in the schoolyard looking at two people, trying to cause a fight between people that doesn't need to happen. But in terms of a performance for Bruno tonight, I thought it was one of his quieter games. His stats might tell differently, but. What seems to happen, he seemed to sort of, before the goal, become a little bit more quiet. But you like Casemiro and Garnacho.
It's probably a good sign.
A good sign, yeah. Because he might go like, you know what, the turn up today, I can step back for a change, because the other players sort of came to the front, but took his goal really well, took the penalties really well, and he doesn't need to prove anyone to anything. He's won games for United, but this felt like more of a team performance than a Bruno performance to win us the match.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He's got. I think we were just looking before, he's up to 28 goals and assists this season now for United in all competitions. That is just fantastic, isn't it? Like when
we probably take it for granted.
Yeah.
Because those are stats that would put you in the proper elite bracket of number 10s in world football.
Yeah.
And he's been doing it for so long for United, so consistently that we kind of gloss over it. But I think we should take a step back and recognise just how incredible it is and how lucky we are to have him.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm just looking at players in the top leagues with the most goals and assists. Obviously Salah is at the top there, but in terms of his position, I mean, there's not many above him at all.
Yeah.
It's
given the context of
it's
United
crazy.
this season, it's crazy.
Yeah, attacking midfielders, I think he might even be at the top now after those 3 goals tonight.
I think a good United is one where he isn't burdened with the entire responsibility.
Yeah.
When he's almost a bit subdued in a game, not necessarily when he's negative, but when he's not as standout, it shows that United are doing something right, I think, because he's so often relied upon to just do it all himself.
And I think and what happens with that, with the certain pressures, that's when you see more of the sort of animated reactions to decisions, because he is carrying that sort of weight and he feels like he's got to carry the team. But I think
so much pressure.
Ironically, it's a good thing if Bruno isn't involved as much. But then when he's called upon, like to take his goal, he did it really well. But I think we need to give credit to Garnacho, who had a quiet first half. And I think what could have happened come the second half, he thought, I'm not getting the ball here, and maybe dropped his head. But he was probably one of our better players in the second half. And he did brilliantly for Bruno's goal, taking the defender away and then playing the right ball, something he's been accused of getting wrong. And that's 2 games in the bounce have been really impressive with him.
Yeah, Garnacho looked really good today. I thought Xerxes, another one, he played really well. His passing was excellent. He looked like he was faster than he ever has done before. I don't know if that was maybe the opposition weren't particularly quick.
Amram mentioned he slimmed down a bit since he signed. So
okay, maybe that's helping him with a bit of acceleration. There's a couple of times where there was loose balls and he was getting there first, which you don't really see in the Premier League. And again, maybe it's just a speed of players and speed of league thing, playing against a mid-table La Liga team. Maybe there is a difference in athleticism on average, and we could exploit that. But it was nice to see that one. I think it was Ronaldo, I don't know if it was you, Finn, who said it's nice to watch us against someone where we aren't being kind of out-athleted in the game. We actually look like we're as physical, if not more so, than they are. Brian Kevill with a super chat says, Paul Scholes kissing ass in the TNT interview with Ruben, yet loves to take the piss when questioned by Adam McCullough. Two-faced. Wow. Ooh. It's all kicking off, isn't it, with former United players these days. Owen Thompson says, got a song, lads. Ooh, Arsenal didn't know what he was worth. Ayden Heaven is the best on earth.
The amount of Arsenal fans
that
took to Twitter when he signed was saying, oh, he's a B-tier talent, we've got rid of him for a reason.
Yeah.
A load of rubbish.
Yeah.
They put a contract on the table and he didn't sign it because he thought his pathway was better elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I think we've done amazingly to sign him. £1 million in this market is incredible value.
And another good thing about the Ayden Heaven signing, and that he's playing European football, centre defence for Manchester United, Obi getting games, you've got Euro. What that says, when you've got young players that are around the country or continent, so at an area we're going to be targeting because we haven't got the money to be buying the prime players, it says that if I go to Old Trafford, I know I've got a chance to get into a team. Because, I mean, Amarim's just shown there that I've got faith in a young lad if he can do it.
Yeah.
And it's great to see.
Yeah, and I know we didn't get to see a lot of debuts tonight, but we have to remember that was Ayden Heaven's full debut. That's the first time he started a game. So he is giving youngsters a chance.
I think we're learning about Amarim and his sensibilities when it comes to how willing he is to give debuts. And I think as long as he does give debuts when he thinks that they're deserved, then I'm fine with that. Because I think he's shown that he's probably not going to be like a Van Gaal type who's just going to hand out 7 debuts in one match day or something. But as long as we can see consistent youth integration and a willingness to do that, which I think he's shown so far, then I think happy days. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think, even just the signings of, I know Dorgu's not an academy player, but he's a young still
player.
Only 20.
Yeah, we've obviously Heaven, who's now made 3 appearances in the last 6 or 7 games, one of them being a start and a full 90 minutes as well tonight. He didn't get brought off. We've seen Obi as well coming on and, getting more games consistently. I think, like you said, he's not going to be one of those managers where it's like, look, like when Jose listed all the players that he'd kind of given the debut, probably some of them were just so he could say he'd given more to.
Or like Xavi at Barcelona.
Yeah. where it's just everyone gets a game.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's definitely willing to do that. Carl Dunley says, play the youth and wrap the first team in bubble wrap until Lyon. We can win this competition, but availability will be key. Well, that's an interesting point, because you mentioned before, didn't you, Scotty, about the next round and when that will be. Let me just double check.
April the 17th is the home leg.
Beautiful.
I had an email from United as soon as the kickoff
It's
ended.
like the bloody having the UEFA General, whatever it's called.
The UEFA General, like that.
Is that
Can
what
we
it's
get a
called?
badge?
We should be called that. So into the next round, obviously, United will face Lyon. On the other side of the tie, I think we've still got stoppage time between Rangers and Fenerbahce. That's they've got 7 minutes left there, so they will play. The winner of that game will play the winner of. Is it the? It'll be Atletico Madrid. Sorry, I keep saying that. Athletic Bilbao. Will face the winner of that Ranger game. So we've got Lyon next. They are 6th place in the French league. They are going through absolute financial turmoil off the pitch. I think, I don't know if they're still threatened to be relegated, but that's been on the cards this season. Some technically good players. Comfortable win over FCSB, 7-1 on aggregate. Do you see this as a competition United should be one of the favourites for? Do you think, is it arrogant to say we should win it, or do you just think one game at a time, keep going?
I think we should win it.
Yeah.
I think there's no team in the competition now the way you look at it and say, if United do lose, then it'll be understandable. I think we should be beating every team in this competition. Whether we will or not is impossible to say, but I think we should. That should definitely be our target.
Yeah, it should be, definitely. Do you think, Scotty?
Yeah, I mean, I said when Amorim signed, United are going to win the Europa League, and I've got no reason to change my belief now. We're only going to get stronger with players coming back, and for me, and it'll probably piss off some United fans, but I'd start playing weaker teams against the likes of Leicester and stuff like that, because the league position doesn't make a difference. If we get Champions League football, the money that comes with it and the talent that we can, it'll be huge. And I know he said that Europa League can't save our season. Listen, I want to go to Bilbao and watch United pick up a European Cup this summer, and I think we can do it.
That would be great. I mean, just finally then, looking ahead a little bit, you mentioned we've talked about the performance, we've talked about, the chance of silverware. We're talking, everything we've said tonight has been positive. It's nice to be able to speak positively. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to focus on the fact that it's nice to speak positively about United. It's nice to be optimistic. I've got a feeling that we can start to see more good performances this season. It doesn't have to be one-offs when they're down to 10 men. I think there's been little hints here and there the last couple of weeks that maybe they are starting to learn certain patterns. Garnacho looked, more keen to bring his teammates in. I thought Højlund looked like a functional striker today. Dorgu's athleticism and work rate was excellent. Bruno doing what he does. Casemiro even looking good, especially on the ball. I feel like there could be some signs of, it's not going to be brilliant between now and the end of the season, but do you think we can see the team actually start to get what Amorim's asking of them at least?
Yeah, I think there are makings of a team there, and it's going to take years before we're truly competitive at the top of the Premier League. But I think we can look at the small signs of progress, which I think are evidently there. When Dorgu comes back into the team domestically after his ban, and when these things come together, I think we're seeing definitely patterns of play in the final third. Defensively, actually under Amorim, we've always been quite strong. He sets us up in quite a compact block, which we didn't get under Ten Hag. I think there are positives, and hopefully we can continue a little bit of momentum.
Yeah, me too. Do you think so?
Yeah, I think so. Spring is in the air, Joe, and I can see sprouts not only in the football that's being played, but also some of the decisions that are being made upstairs. And what I want towards the end of the season is for Manchester United fans not to be so fractured and short-termism with their views. It was never going to be an overnight project, and hopefully tonight's win, the new stadium signs that we're moving in that right direction.
Yeah, I think some of those players will look at that stadium and be like, "Oh, that's the club I'm at. That's the team I play for. It should be the best in the country."
You can be part of the team that wins the first league in that stadium.
Yeah.
What?
That should be the message.
Exactly.
That would be ace, wouldn't it? Chris Thompson says, winning the Europa League going into next season, the Champions League cash to help boost at Amorim in the summer. The only way is up, keep the faith. I mean, it's nice to feel a little bit optimistic, and even if we are getting carried away, we're looking past the quarters and the semis and all that, it's nice to be able to feel like, because so much of this season, even if you were desperate to be optimistic, the best you could say was, Bruno wasn't that bad again today. Whereas today, there was 7 or 8 players that were really, really good.
I hope Ahmad's back. If we do get to the final
soon as well too.
Yeah.
it looks like he could be back before the end of the season, doesn't it? Which is good.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, just how quick the game seemed to go when we were watching it. I was like, I can't believe that this is almost over. I'm having a right laugh. That's been I'm not saying that for a while. But
It was really, really good. Right, I think we should wrap it up there. Manchester United through to the quarter-finals of the Europa League. Maybe this is the road we need. Maybe we need that. They take the high road, we'll take the low road. We'll beat all these lot, and we'll find a way into the Champions League through the back door. We'll have to wait and see, obviously. But really good performance tonight. Thanks, Finn. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Scotty, as well as always for coming on. Thank you for joining us at home. Through to the quarter-final. Some signs of a good performance. Bruno proving everyone wrong. Dorgu looking like an absolute beast. Good night, wasn't it? See you in a bit.